Hello, welcome back, or if you're new, my name is Delian. This is the channel where we explore becoming the main character of our own stories, which I think we're all here to do. But if you're like me, it didn't come naturally, which is why I delved into astrology and the Enneagram, among many other things that will come out in videos as we continue on. And today I realized from a lot of feedback from so many of you, thank you, that doing a video where I just go through and explain how to read a chart would be helpful. And it's been I'm an over explainer. I love sharing lots of information. And so sometimes I hold myself back because I'm like, this is just me. I don't think everybody else is like this. So yes, it seems like some of you are, and I love that. So welcome, welcome. Also, if there are things that you would like me to explore, please let me know in the comments. And speaking of which, if you want to help support this channel, subscribe, comment, like, all of those things are immensely beneficial. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. For the first time ever, I'm going to use my chart as an example. And it's so funny. It's like kind of vulnerable. So I'm going to do a little screen recording here so that I can pull up my chart and show you how I would go through this. So as you can see, here's my chart. All right, so first things first, I know that I explained this in lots of the other videos, so and if you've had a reading with me, I look at that circle of your birth chart as the house of you. And all of the houses, which are these pizza slices, as rooms within that house, which is why sometimes it's confusing because I know that I say houses and rooms interchangeably. And when I refer to houses, I'm referring to these pizza slices. And then there are the signs. So over here, my ascendant, which is this darker line here, is in Aries. This is the sign. So all of these segments that go around the chart are the signs. So as you can see, my ascendant is in the sign of Aries, and the ascendant is where your first house or the first room is. This nice little pizza slice. All right, so yes, for starters, we go through Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. Now you can see here's the first house, second house, third house, and so forth as we go through. And so the first house is the house of Aries. So Aries and the first house are the same kinds of vibes. And then Mars is the ruler of Aries. But I'm not going to get into planets yet, Delian. Don't get ahead of yourself. So essentially, what I see, and we'll be able to use my chart as a nice example because I have a couple of spaces where the full room pretty much overlaps just one sign. But I've done a couple of readings recently where people's ascendant starts at the beginning of a sign, which essentially, even though I use this format of a chart where the houses and the signs don't necessarily line up, if your ascendant starts at an earlier degree or even a later degree, what you have is a whole house system type of chart. And it essentially means your signs and your houses line up. And that gives you a certain kind of vibe to the type of house you have. The metaphor I like to use is that if you have something like what I have here, which is my first house has a little bit of this Aries sign and a lot of this Taurus sign. And I look at this as a bit of an open concept in terms of like interior design. So essentially, my first room here, which I look at for me is like the entryway to my home, has a very Taurus style room, but it moves into this area as well. This essentially Aries type of room. I hope that makes sense. All right, let's see. What else do I want to explain just about those as basics here? Well, you can let me know in the comments as well what other questions you might have, but very specifically, these segments on the outside are the signs, and these pizza slices are the houses. And Aries goes along with the first house, Taurus goes along with the second house, Gemini, third house. So let's play around a little bit. Let's talk about your planets. And I'm going to do a video where I'm working on something right now where I am essentially, I'm not creating, I'm realizing and putting language to how I see each of the planets as parts of you. And each of the planets has an archetype, and just narrowing that down and showcasing it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about this, but be on the lookout for the video that comes out about this. So looking at my chart here, let's start over here with Mars. And we're going to start with Mars for two reasons. One is that it's the ruler of Aries in the first house. And I won't actually go in order of what's in my chart, but rather in the order of the rulers of each of the houses and signs. So it just happens to be that my Mars, which is the planet, the ruler of Aries, and that I look at as the archetype of the huntress or the hunter, there's an intensity, there's an like a need to be really involved with your senses. There's a survival type of vibe to Aries because it's about failing and doing and failing and doing and like learning as you go. So there's a lot of impulsivity that happens with Mars or the huntress archetype. And it is very strong in my chart. And again, I will eventually do like a deep dive into my chart and how I integrate the information, especially in regards to how I've used it to step into being the main character of my own life. So Mars, huntress archetype, right here at my ascendant, it has a lot to say. It's very fun. All right. And then the ruler of Taurus, or the second house, I look at as Ceres. And Ceres is right down here in my Leo and in the fourth house. So I have a Ceres that has attributes of both Leo, which I look at as the muse, and the fourth house or room, which is Cancer, and I look at as the mother. And so essentially my Ceres has a mother muse type of vibe, whereas my Mars, as you can see, and this isn't going to happen for most people won't have a planet that is in the sign that it belongs to and in the house it belongs to. Most of the time they'll be dispersed. But my Ceres, as you can, so it's what I'm saying there is that this Mars is like full on huntress. There's no other energy for it to have because it's all Aries. But my Ceres is playful and nurturing, seeking fun, seeking inspiration, but doing it in a space where it creates belonging. And I talked a little bit about this in the Ceres video that I did about how I've integrated that, just like a little sneak peek. So you can go check that out if you would like. But that's how I would read it. And also there's the symbol for Ceres. Okay, so the ruler of Gemini, or the third house, is Mercury. Mercury is this one right here. And Mercury, for me, is in Cancer and in the third house. So it's in its home, Gemini, in the third house, which is the house of Gemini. Or I'm sorry, Mercury in the third house of Gemini. So it's just a very strong Mercury. And I look at Mercury as the sage archetype. And it's in Cancer, the sign of Cancer, which again is that mothering or nurturing archetype. So I have a Mercury, and this is my voice. This is how I want to express my ideas and communicate, shows up in I want to talk about it, ergo a YouTube channel. And I want to do it in a way that creates belonging and nurturing. So I have a sage mother Mercury. So, all right. Now we'll hop over to Cancer in the fourth house. And the ruler of Cancer in the fourth house is the moon, which is over here. And my moon is in Scorpio. So it's in the sign of Scorpio and in the house or the room of Libra. Seventh house of Libra. So I have a moon, which is how you experience safety, nurturing, mothering, and the way that I do that and the way that I receive that most easily is in Scorpio and Libra ways. And I look at the archetypes of Scorpio and Libra. Scorpio, is the mystic, wants to understand like this magical inner world. And Libra, I look at as the princess. I do not think of it necessarily as a soft princess. I really, the best princess I can think of that really encapsulates the Libra the princess archetype for Libra that I see is Princess Leia from Star Wars. She is an advocate. She is standing up for what she knows is right and fighting for a more beautiful world. That's the energy that I see for that Libra archetype. Sorry, I have like a piece of hair on my arm that's driving me nuts. Okay. So there's my moon, and that's how I would look at it. I would look at it as a mystic princess. And I blend those two energies together in order to get an idea for how my moon operates. Okay, let's hop over here to Leo. Now the ruler of Leo is the sun. And I look at sun as how like you're inspired to live your life. And I look at Leo as the muse. And so the muse part of me wants to express itself in a Cancer way and a Gemini way because it's in this third house. So the way that I feel inspired to be just in my life, the light I think I'm here to shine, if you will, is to express my ideas and to share my thoughts in a way that makes people feel like they belong and are nurtured and especially feel emotionally safe and taken care of. So my sun part of me is a mother sage, just like my Mercury. And you can see my Mercury is right there next to my sun, which usually means that person talks a lot. Okay. Just throwing myself out over here. Okay. Let's hop over to the ruler of Virgo and the sixth house, which is Chiron. And Chiron is this one right here. So Chiron, I look at as the wounded healer, but in an archetypical sense, I look at it as the maiden. And of course, I will, when I do my archetype video, I will talk about the different genders or even androgynous way you can approach your placements. But I do personally find my Chiron to be a maiden versus a boy, which would be the male part, or even just a child, which could be the androgynous archetype. But it's where I experienced some kind of wound as a child that I'm here to heal, is the way that I approach the Chiron placement. And I've done a video on each of these planets, so if you want to go check those out, I essentially put it together as a course, which is I find very fun, as you can see with all of my Gemini placements. So over here, I have a double Cancer Chiron. So my Chiron is in Cancer, the sign, and also the fourth house of Cancer. And it essentially means that my wounds are going to be around not feeling like I belong, not feeling like I know how to nurture myself, or feeling like I was overlooked, or feeling or having to do a lot of healing work around this sense of belonging to myself, feeling emotionally cared for, taking some of that energy that I might push out into taking care of other people emotionally, maybe from a manipulative standpoint so that I can feel safe. Like all of those things are things that I am here to do work on. And as I continue healing, maybe even offering up how I can teach that to other people, or even just inspire other people to do the same thing for themselves. So that's how I look at Chiron. Also, if you want to go look at how, and I will eventually do a video probably just on this topic, and if you're interested in it, please let me know, on how I look at how you take care of your body in a very practical way. I often look at what's going on with your Chiron. So that's just something that I also look at. I'm like, okay, in order to take care of my body, these are also going to correlate. And when my body is not feeling as aligned as I want it to, it might be because I have been ignoring some of the messages around my Chiron placement. So, okay. Now we're going to hop over to Libra, or the ruler of Libra. So Libra is this sign and this house. But the ruler of Libra, I look at as Venus, which is over here in the sign of Gemini and in the second house. So I have a Gemini, Taurus. Sorry, I just realized I didn't talk about the archetypes with Chiron. I'll do an archetype video at some point soon. So my Venus shows itself in a Gemini, which I look at as the sage, and the second house, which I look at as the lover. So my Venus, how I experience what the beauty I'm willing to fight for are very Gemini, sage, and also Taurus, lover ways. To me, I am a lover of knowledge. I will fight for for me, knowledge is power. Being able to express your thoughts is a love language in and of itself. Like, I could get amped up on this. So the Venus part of me, the beauty I'm willing to fight for, is going to be in that sage and lover type of spaces. Okay. Let's hop over to the ruler of Scorpio. So here's the sign of Scorpio, again, which is technically the ruler of the 8th house, and that lines up with the 8th house. But the ruler of Scorpio is Pluto, and my Pluto's over here, nearish my moon, in the sign of Scorpio and in the house of Libra, the room of Libra. So my Pluto is a double mystic, that archetype of the mystic, because it how I want to transform, how I want to dive deep. Because my ascendant is in Aries, some of my planets are going to be in the same sign and same house, which just makes those placements a bit more intense. So I have a very strong Pluto in Scorpio. And essentially it just means that I have really deep emotions, and also confirming with many of you, thank you for all of your comments, for all of you other Plutos and moons in Scorpio, about being afraid of dark water you can't see through. But the way that I transform, which is how I look at Pluto, is going to be in a mystic princess way. And it's like I look at that princess as an advocator. It's what I'm willing to fight for. And yes, it does have some sweetness. It does have some youthful or even royalty type of qualities to it. But that is how I look at this part of me, this Pluto expression. All right. So here's Sagittarius, and the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter, and that's down here at the bottom of my chart, right over next to my Chiron. And if you've seen the videos, I look at Jupiter as the thing that expands and makes things maybe even extreme in order to get us onto our path of truth. And I think the way that we get onto our path of truth is understanding our life philosophy, which I think shows up in what your Jupiter placement is. And check it out. My Jupiter placement is down here in Cancer, in the 4th house of Cancer, which is a double mother archetype. And my Jupiter, which I look at as the adventurer, I want to adventure through the world in a way where I belong to myself, and I get to, because I also look at Jupiter as the potential teacher. If I were to teach anything, and you said you can only pick one thing, it would be how you belong to yourself, which is exactly what I want to do on this channel. How you belong to your own story. You are gifted with this life. You are gifted with this specific version of you, and you get to belong to you. Obviously, I could go on and on, but so my Jupiter, my adventurer, shows up in a way that's very nurturing, very mothering. And I've had to learn that I have to direct that energy towards myself first, which has been a good lesson. Okay. And then Capricorn, this is the sign of Capricorn, which technically goes along with the 10th house, which just happens to be halfway lined up for my particular chart. And the ruler of Capricorn is Saturn. So I have a double Saturn. So out of all of my planets, my Saturn and my Mars technically are my strongest because they are a Saturn in Capricorn in the 10th house and a Mars that's in Aries and the first house. So my Saturn, which I look at as the queen or the king, but for me, it definitely shows up as a queen. And it's just extra. It's just an extra strong queen. Just like my Mars is an extra strong huntress, I have an extra strong queen here at the top of my chart. That's how I would look at that. And if you have something like this in your chart, this is something that I would have talked about with you for sure, because it could be one of your top 3 placements. So, okay. Then over here is the sign of Aquarius, and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and this is what Uranus looks like. And my Uranus is in the 9th house and in Capricorn. I look at Uranus's archetype as the rebel. Like I was saying, the Capricorn energy is the queen, the 9th house is the adventurer. So you can get this idea that the way my rebel shows up is in how I approach systems, how I approach my vocation and my career, and how I want to adventure and how I want to find like my life philosophy. And I did talk about this in the Uranus video I did, of like a little snippet of how I embrace my Uranus placement. But my rebel shows up in a authoritative, adventurous way. And it absolutely has affected how I approach even my vocation and things like that. All right. And last but not least, here is Pisces. Here's the 12th house, and the ruler of Pisces is Neptune right here. Just makes me laugh. Okay, Neptune is here in Capricorn. It is in the 9th house. It is conjunct my my MC, which I cut it off in the picture here, but here's the MC. Oh man. So Neptune is how the archetype I see Neptune as is the enchantress. And it says she for me as well here. She is connected to the divine. There's magic that exists. There's a sense of connection to all. And she shows up in a very Capricorn way. So she's pretty bossy. In a Sagittarius type of way, that 9th house, which is very adventurer. And one of the things that is very interesting for me is that because my Neptune, which is about dreams, ideals, fantasies, it is retrograde, which means these 3 placements for me have been a big, where I've had to do a lot of work because they're retrograde. But here, conjunct my MC line in Capricorn essentially is like I have fantastical dreams about my vocation, or I have ideals around what I'm here to master and even the adventures I'm here to go on. So my enchantress is very, wants to do big things and also wants to be a big adventurer. And so, yeah. And then I'm not going to talk about it here, but this is my North Node. My North Node is in Aquarius and the 10th house. And eventually I will do videos on the North Node. I think the North Node has been probably the most impactful thing that I have learned from my chart that has helped me move in the direction I want to with my life. I don't think that it could have been as helpful as it was until I had done a lot of work about the foundations of my chart, like understanding all of these placements, how I operate, how I can take care of myself, and so forth. But the North Node absolutely changed my life, understanding that, which honest, when did that happen? I learned about the North Nodes, I think in 2019. Yeah. Maybe I'll share that story sometime. Okay. So there you have it. This is how I look at a chart, and also here, like, to just give some ideas of the signs, the houses / rooms, and what all of the planets and the icons look like. And if you have any questions, definitely let me know. I have so many videos that I have coming up. I cannot wait. And if you have any video requests, definitely let me know. All right. I hope that this was beneficial, and I will see you in the next video. Okay. Bye.